They came out with the reboot of the 80s Masters of the Universe animated show about a year ago with Kevin Smith directing it. It had a lot of backlash at the time.
I think it was more than that. I think they did a second season. I think the second season came out about a year ago, but I think the original one launched a
couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And fans were not happy because they basically made
It's the Tila show.
Tila the main character. And
I heard the second season was a lot better, but I didn't watch it.
It was, and they were trying to get people to hold on. But when you lose viewers, they don't always come back for a season 2. So you gotta come with the goods, early so that you get people lured in. So now we have news, and this whole live action Masters of the Universe movie has been circulating different directors and writers for years, right? And so they finally seem like they've got a team in place. And they've cast no other than Nicholas Galitzine, who, for those that do a lot of streaming and watch things like Netflix with their significant others, he is the guy that showed up as the character opposite one of your favorite actresses, Anne Hathaway, in a Netflix
That's
movie.
Sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah. Called The Idea of You. He was the main character opposite Anne Hathaway in The Idea of You. And I think that's doing well on Netflix. The problem is you watch that, and the last thing I think of when I see him, he's playing like a pop star in that romantic comedy, so to speak, is Prince Adam. The guy just doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sell it to me now.
He could be Prince Adam. I just don't see him as He-Man.
Well, that's the thing, right? So you got to be able to pull off both.
Yeah.
And now, granted, this guy, maybe he goes and works out, and hires the same fitness trainers that some of these guys in Hollywood hire, and within 6 months he's ready to go. But he's been casting it. So just at first glance, no opinion. You want to wait until you see a trailer.
I mean, you could
other cast members.
I think he could get there, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely not.
So what do you think about Amazon? We don't know yet if they're going to release this in the theaters or do like what they did with Roadhouse, which I think it was a big mistake to not put Roadhouse out at the theater. They put it on Amazon only, Prime. And I think it did well, but people view movies that come out on streaming, direct to streaming, differently than they do the theaters. So
standards may be a little lower.
Yeah. And you're not as much of a rush to watch it. And, they haven't really said yet what they're going to do with that, but we do know that there's a director, and it's Travis Knight. Now, Travis Knight has done some animated projects, but he does have one live-action movie under his belt, and that is a director, and that was Bumblebee. I actually kind of liked Bumblebee. It was probably – I'm not a big fan of the Transformers franchise. I think I liked one or two of the early Shia LaBeouf movies of Transformers. But
the first one was definitely the best. I thought the first one was genuinely a good movie.
And Bumblebee had it was more contained.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. I thought it was fine. So maybe this guy will get it done. We're gonna have to see who do they surround for the cast. Who do they surround Nicholas Galitzine with as He-Man to make this? And look, I mean, for those that have grown up with the cartoons, had the toys, this is such visual storytelling that you've got to get the cinematography right. It can come off, you got to have a little bit of campiness to it, but it can really come off really cheesy if you do it wrong.
Well, there's that classic with Dolph Lundgren from the 80s.
There is, but I
love that movie.
There is a template to get this right. And even though it didn't make a ton of money at the box office, the last Dungeons and Dragons movie, I think, is the template they need to use for He-Man. I thought with Chris Pine.
I didn't watch it. I didn't have any interest in it.
I was actually surprised. I was surprised how much I liked it.
I thought the casting looked so awful.
It was not the strongest cast, but it was okay. For what it was, I enjoyed it. And I think if they can take a little bit of that recipe, they can make Masters of the Universe, this movie, work. So remains to be seen. We're going to cover, when they do some casting for it and we see more of the cast fill out, we'll get more of a sense of, how good this may end up being. But, we've got a director and, we've got a script by Chris Butler, according to Deadline. And now we have He-Man himself, Nicholas Galitzine, and we wanted to cover it. And what do you think? Do you want to see a Masters of the Universe movie in the theater Would you rather just see it on Amazon Prime, just like they put out Roadhouse? What do you think about the live action, the casting? What are you looking forward to seeing in the movie? Let us know what you think. Give us your thoughts. While you're doing that, smash the like button. While you're leaving a comment, hit the notifications bell for future content. And most importantly, hit subscribe so we can continue to grow our channel and TCB.